What's good, everybody? Daily Betslip, Friday, July 4th weekend. We're getting it started. Reed Wallach here, joined by Donnavan Smoot. And Donovan, I was going to ask you about July 4th and everything, but coming in the last half hour, we had some NBA breaking news. We're just going to get right into it. I'll ask you how you're doing in a little bit, but Rudy Gobert, he's going to the Minnesota Timberwolves in just what is becoming now every hour. We're getting another massive landscape-changing NBA trade, but I want to pull up the exact terms. The Timberwolves have given up Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Walker Kessler, who's a first-round pick this year, Jared Vanderbilt, and 4 future first-round picks. It looks like 3 unprotected and a top 5 protected in 2029, all for Rudy Gobert. Now joining forces with Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell. Well, Twin Tower setup here. Donovan, welcome to Daily Betslip. And what are your thoughts on this trade?
Well, first off, obviously, you said that you were going to ask me how I was doing later. Obviously, Rudy Gobert trade matters more than
what matters more than anything.
That matters more than my well-being. This is crazy, though. I'm so shocked right now. I'm just like, obviously, the Timberwolves, they needed a little bit more defense. They have, they have the best defensive center in the league now, and so you have kind of a guy who can anchor a top 10 defense just at will. This is going to be crazy. This is really going to be crazy because the fact that you didn't give up D'Angelo Russell, and so now you're going to have to fill it in with some more defensive guards because you are losing Patrick Beverley. But you have Cat, who's now going to play the 4, and he's going to be able to stand out there and shoot all the threes that his heart pleases. Anthony Edwards is going to be great. D'Angelo Russell hopefully bounces back, but they are a serious player now, and if the Timberwolves make the play-in, if they're involved in the play-in this upcoming year, the season is it's a disappointment, right? You make this kind of move, you trade. This is, and we were talking before, this is a Kevin Durant package, right? This is something that you would
not anymore.
Exactly, because the price just went up for Durant. But this is the type of package that you trade for a top guy who you think can elevate you into a champion. And so let's see if Gobert's defense is going to be able to do that for Minnesota. But this is insane.
Yeah, this is a seismic move, honestly. I know it doesn't sound like it is, but it really is. Rudy Gobert, he is a good basketball player. He gets a bad rap. It seems like he kind of his time ran out in Utah, but him next to Karl Anthony Towns, that is a serious deal we're putting out there. Towns gets to play power forward now, and Towns, kind of an underrated rim protector himself, so staggering those 2 minutes. But, the defense, a lot of size there with Towns' ability to spread the floor with Gobert inside. This is, I don't want to say contender, but like you said, this is a team that is playing games not going to cut in. This is a team that just went to 6 with the Memphis Grizzlies just this past year. So this is a team on the rise. They gave a lot of future capital, but you're hoping around Anthony Edwards, Towns, and Gobert, this is a team that could build into a contender. So it's aggressive for sure, but can't hate it. And how about the Utah Jazz? This is officially the end of an era. They are moving out. They are in a full rebuild. If I had to guess, Donovan Mitchell will soon be on the move also. We could talk about, I know you said to me before we hopped on a potential place. There are 2, I think, likely favorites of Mitchell's services, which we get into. But before we get to Mitchell, this just, like I said, reset the market for Kevin Durant. I have been saying for the past 24 hours, if you want Kevin Durant, you need to bring in a historic haul. Should not be a settled situation. Well, Rudy Gobert, who is a fringe all-star, has been played off the floor in NBA postseason series for the past half decade, just went for basically 5 first-round picks and some young fodder to help fill out the cap. Kevin Durant might be going for double-digit picks here, including actual playable assets. I think that this completely just reset the market now that Gobert's on the move for this haul. But we'll see how that plays out with the Nets. I don't know if that's going to be settled so soon. It seems like a bidding war is going to start there with something like a Gobert package and soon to be a Donovan Mitchell package. So Donovan, aptly named. Yeah. Where would you say, I guess, handicap the Donovan Mitchell sweepstakes? Because you have to think a move is coming soon, right? That's kind of next to the tear down. Good start, by the way. This is a good start.
It is. And we're gonna see whether or not he wants to be like the Bradley Beal for the next 10 years and he's just gonna take all the money and be on this mid team, or if he actually is gonna like force his way out. But if the Jazz go ahead and do this, there's a couple places that he can go. One, Miami can go and get Donovan Mitchell, which I think makes a little bit more sense for them because they won't have to give up as much depth to get a really, really talented scorer that can help them in the half court. But the big thing that I think that comes out of this is this clears a pathway for Russell Westbrook to be moved from the Lakers, Kyrie Irving to be moved to the Los Angeles Lakers, and Donovan Mitchell to be moved to Brooklyn, right? Or another team. But I think if you start swapping those and everybody gets what they want, Utah can get a first round draft pick and $47 million off the books next year. Los Angeles can get Kyrie. Brooklyn can get a 24, 25-year-old, all-star player to pair with their point forward in Ben Simmons. And now you have a, solid duo moving forward. So I think that's the biggest trade that opens up from this move is that I think this is the exact opening that the Lakers have been looking for, and that's kind of where Donovan Mitchell goes if Miami doesn't scoop him up.
Yeah, I think there's some other things need to be in process to really get there, but I do think that you're onto something with the Nets Mitchell pipeline has officially opened. Like that door, like door C or whatever, that door is now open. And what is going to, again, I think this Durant situation going to drag out a little bit. I think it's going to end up being a lot of teams are in motion. I think it's going to be a very complex deal. I don't think it's going to be like a 1-for-1. So I think that this could be like part of it, even if it's just the Kyrie scenario and then Durant goes in another thing. But I mean, great analysis there. Obviously, this is developing very quickly. As Adrian Wojnarowski at ESPN just says, the Jazz have gathered 6 first-round picks in the past 24 hours for Rudy Gobert and Royce O'Neal. So things are happening here very quickly, and the Jazz are jump-starting their rebuild, armed with picks, and we'll see where they go in the future. But listen, good start for them. Let's jump into best bets, though. We're going to go completely elsewhere and move into best bets. Let's get the holiday weekend started right. Let's get some winners on the board. Don, I'm going to start with you. I know all of us, we're going different sports each way. So I'm going to start with baseball. I'll give my baseball pick, and we'll kind of go back and forth that way. But give me, I know you're eyeing a prop here with a young stud pitcher. So let me hear that pick.
Yeah, so I'm going with the over on Christian Javier's strikeout total, right? So he's at 7.5 strikeouts. It's a high number. It's an aggressive play to start the weekend off, but I'm gonna go with it. It's minus 125 odds. The Astros they're playing the Angels tonight, and something that I've done basically for the last month is anytime you can get a good pitcher facing the Angels, I'm going to take the over because the Angels, and I said this last week.
Your thing,
right? They are known for swinging and missing, and there's not a lot of teams that do it, worse than them. They have recently actually moved out of the bottom spot in the league. They no longer average the most strikeouts per game, but they are second worst now.
Okay,
so a little bit of
a golf clap to the Angels.
Exactly, a little bit of improvement, but they still average 9.42 strikeouts per game. Javier is a guy who's going to be pitching at home. He cleared this line easily in his last start.
No hitter.
Exactly. Last Saturday against the Yankees, 13 strikeouts there. He had missed this line in 4 games straight, but prior to that, he had cleared it twice again. So he's clearly capable of getting a lot of these strikeouts. So I think if you're talking about a guy who's going to be at home in a comfortable spot, coming off the best game of his career against a team that is known for striking out, I'll take that prop. And I don't think that minus 125 is too bad a juice for this one.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good play. Ryan the hot hand with Javier. And the Astros themselves just kind of, hot week. And I know it kind of sour note ending against the Yankees last week, but they came back, beat my Mets up pretty good. So, Astros kind of rolling, and I can't hate the play. My baseball bet, though, you have like one good team, one bad team. I just have 2 pretty bad teams. I'm going to take the Diamondbacks, though, a small road underdogs against the Colorado Rockies, plus 105. This is just backing Merrill Kelly. Kelly's been a stud this entire season. Expected ERA of 3.64. He's been just in fantastic form. And you factor that in against Antoine Senzatella of the Rockies, who getting no swing and misses. He's averaging less than 5 strikeouts per 9 innings, allowing 13 hits per 9 innings. This guy really, the ball is going in play. Coors Field, I know he's a ground ball pitcher, but if the Diamondbacks are going to put the ball in play, with Senzatella's expected ERA of 5.85, I just think that the Diamondbacks, their offense is better. I think they're more likely to plate runs there. And I trust Kelly to get the job done. He's been a damn good pitcher this entire season. So give me Merrill Kelly and the Diamondbacks, a small road underdogs. I don't trust the Rockies with Senzatella on the bump. So give me Arizona plus 105. Thoughts?
I like that. I think in games where, both teams are bad, taking a swing and kind of being aggressive is kind of the way to go, because these games, often end up being really, really unpredictable. And so, and especially if you're talking about playing in Colorado, you have that thin air, the ball is going to go everywhere. I like it, and I like backing Merrill Kelly as well.
Yeah, and we're going out to Wimbledon now. Iga Swiatek, I know she's playing. She's on a roll. She's the favorite to win. You are interested in something in her match. I'll tease it over to you. So what are you thinking? Iga Swiatek versus Elise Cornet tomorrow at Wimbledon.
Yeah, so this is the first time that they're ever gonna play, and I'm taking Iga to be dominant like she normally is. She's won 37 straight matches.
Crazy.
At this point. Now she got pushed, however. She got pushed in her last match. She actually went to 3 sets, and she won the first one, lost the second one, and had to go out and and win that third one. I think that last set kind of brought her back down to reality, and it's going to refocus her. Now, her and Cornet, they've never played against each other, but I think that Swiatek is going to be able to kind of refocus and be locked in. And when you look at the stuff that Swiatek does, it's not just the fact that she wins a majority of her service games, right? Basically every tennis player worth their salt does that. It's the fact that she's winning over 53% of her return game. She's converting on over 53 of her break points, right? Of potential break points. So there's not even an in for her opponent to even hold serve. And so I don't think that Cornet's going to be able to hold serve for 2 straight sets against Swiatek. So I'm going to take the under in this one. I think she gets it wrapped up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, could never go wrong with this Swiatek just mowing someone down. So I'm with you here, under 19.5. I mean, she's just been so dominant. I completely agree. She has the form. I'm juniors champion here, so I'm with you. My Wimbledon best bet, though, I'm going with maybe more of a volatile player, to say the least. Nick Kyrgios, he's a small favorite, minus 135 against Stefanos Tsitsipas. I like Kyrgios. They played on June 15th. Kyrgios erased a 1-set deficit, 1-2-1. That first set was very competitive. He pulled away in sets 2 and 3. And the real key in that one was he won 57% of Tsitsipas' second serve points. He won more than Tsitsipas. He couldn't get that second serve in. Kyrgios, he is bombing his serve right now. He's up and down, but we saw in the second round just how good he could be. Just destroyed Filip Krajinovic. I completely butchered that name, but ruined him less than an hour on the field. I just think he's the better grass court player. If he shows up and he knows that this is arguably the biggest test of his career, trying to break through that second weekend at Wimbledon, I think we see Nick at the small number cover it and get the job done against Tsitsipas, who maybe 8-2 on grass this season. But again, Kyrgios had the leg up on him earlier this season. I'm going to trust Nick and his more consistent serve to get the job done at the All England Club tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I still have a lot of faith in Stefanos, because when you look at Kyrgios at his career, like you say, he's a very up and down player, and he's always had immense talent. But the idea that he's just going to go out and just start mowing people down match after match, there's a little bit of inconsistency that scares me there, and so I think I might just back Tsitsipas in this one. But I don't. Again, the quote that you and I always say on here is I see the logic. Right, I see where you're coming from, so I don't hate the pick.
Yeah, and as is tradition, pretty much when I do a show with either you, Ben,
I picked it just for you.
Peter, there is an Aces game tonight, and Donovan has a bet on it. So let me hear why we are betting something in the Las Vegas Aces game.
I'm betting the Aces. I picked it just for you. I'm taking the Aces. I'm taking the Aces -4 tonight against the Lynx, and this game is really interesting because they are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. the Lynx have the second worst record in the league, and the Aces have now fallen to the second best record in the league. They're no longer first, and the Lynx have won three out of the last four. The Aces have lost three out of the last four. But I'm just gonna back the talent tonight. I think that you can't, overreact to what's going on with Las Vegas. I say their numbers all the time, but if you go down, they're literally first or second in everything outside of defensive rating, and they are average in the league at defensive rating. And if you're going up against a team like Minnesota, who, even though that they've been playing better, still have a little bit of trouble on the offensive side of the ball, right? 6 in offensive rating. They're very average. They're 10th in defensive rating. I'm just going to take the talent. I think that they're due for some positive regression there, and that they're going to get their act together. So I'll take them, even going on the road. I'll take them -4, and I think that they cover tonight.
Yeah, love it. Aces all the way, baby. My new favorite team in the WNBA. I'm looking at UFC 276 co-main event. Alexander Volkanovski going up against Max Holloway. The trilogy fight. Unfortunately, I think Volkanovski gets the nod for the third straight time. I know it's juicy. I don't like to play this type of favorite, but I do think Volkanovski's the side here, mainly because I just think that he has hit a level that Holloway just is not able to reach anymore. Volkanovski, Holloway, his best chance to win was in the second fight. I had Holloway in that fight, a little biased. I thought he could have won. 3-2, Volkanovski was probably the correct scorecard. Can't argue there. Now, if they fight a stand-up fight, a technically sound fight where it's just standing and they're throwing at each other, two tough guys, Volkanovski's going to win. He's a more complete fighter. He's able to mix in those takedowns and level changes that I think could give him the nod. So if that's going to happen, Volkanovski's going to roll, and he's going to look like the -200 favorite he is, near -200 favorite that he is. If Holloway's going to force the issue, and he's going to try and push the pace and really try and come forward and meet Volkanovski in the center of the ring, I trust Volkanovski striking significantly more than Holloway based on their last few fights. I think Volkanovski has knockout power. I sprinkled on Volkanovski inside the distance, plus 290, I believe I have. I think that's worth a look because Holloway, his only way to win, or his most likely way to win and his best chance, is to actually force the issue and try and hunt a finish. I think he's going to end up coming up short in that case. I think he's going to be finished. So give me Alexander Volkanovski any way you want to play it. That's my best bet for UFC 276.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. So when guys are like forced to be aggressive, like Holloway is, does that normally scare you, or is this just like a case where I'm just gonna bet him in this one because I trust Volkanovski like that?
Yeah, I mean, styles make fights, and Holloway, first of all, he's never been finished before. He has incredible cardio. This is the third time they're facing, but one of these times he's going to get touched and he's going to be finished. And Volkanovski has been on a warpath lately. He has looked amazing in his last two fights, really just dominating people, like throwing serious power out there. I don't think Holloway is capable of getting a finish. He hasn't gotten a finish in some time now, several years. He's on a little bit more of the other side of his career, where I still think Volkanovski's hitting new levels of his game, and his striking has just looked so good. So if Holloway wants to come in and like try and meet in the middle, that's just going to play to Volkanovski's hand, I think, and he's going to find that finish. He's going to find that chin. So Holloway's taking a lot of damage. He's a legend for sure. I just think Volkanovski has him covered, so I'm taking him to win. So if it does go to decision, but I'm sprinkling on this big inside the distance price because I do think Holloway is his path to victory lies in. It's almost like me. I'm like trying to like think what's going to happen and then what I think would happen. So I think Holloway's going to come forward and get himself into trouble, and then Volkanovski finds a finish. So I think sprinkling on inside the distance is a good look.
Makes sense.
Now, something maybe not as violent, or actually before we get to something not as violent, good segue there. Let's show that recap graphic really quick so we can make sure people just jumping in see what we have on store. We have picks for the next like 36 hours here, so we're set here. But Donnavan, he's going tonight over 7.5 strikeouts for Christian Javier. The Aces -4 against the Lynx, and then tomorrow at Wimbledon under 19.5 games in Iga Swiatek versus Elise Cornet in the third round of Wimbledon. I also have a play in Wimbledon, and that's Nick Kyrgios -135 against Stefanos Tsitsipas. Tomorrow night, I have Alexander Volkanovski -192 against Max Holloway. And then for tonight, my best bet, I like the Diamondbacks +105 against the Colorado Rockies. So there are our bets for tonight. And now let's talk, like I said, something maybe violent, but not as violent as the UFC, and that is competitive hot dog eating. Competitive hot dog eating. Of course, the Nathan's hot dog eating contest is on Monday, July 4th. Joey Chestnut looking to win his 15th of 16th competitions on Monday. And Chestnut has just, like we're saying, he's hit new levels of his game. Talk about Joey Chestnut. Last year, set the record, broke his own record, 76 hot dogs in the hot dog eating competition. So, Donovan, before we talk about the actual event, how many hot dogs do you think you could eat in 10 minutes?
10 minutes. I think I could get up to. I think I can clear 8. I don't know how many I could do in 10 minutes.
Whoa!
In 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay, so but not, you can't throw up.
I know. I think I can clear 8. I think I can clear 8.
I think I can do
10?
5.
Yeah. Nah.
You think I could do more than I'm expecting?
Yes.
Okay.
I think generally speaking, especially even if you're going to the point where like you don't where you're not gonna throw up, but you feel like, because there's another level between feeling like you're gonna throw up and actually doing it. So I think if you like position yourself in the middle, generally people are like stronger than what they think.
So now my next question was gonna be, if you just wanted to in your leisure time eat as many hot dogs as possible, how many do you think you could actually reach before you're like done?
Probably. Okay. If we're just like going like no time, probably like 10, 12.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I could hit double digits if I really wanted to.
I know that. There was one time where my friends and I, we were having, it was like there's a wing bar in Texas, it's called Pluckers, and so we go on a Monday, it's like all you can eat, and so I went for like the group record of wings in one sitting, and so I ended up eating 30 wings in one sitting.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, I felt terrible for 2 days after.
Anytime you're setting a record for food, that's like you're immediately ruining your week. Like it is over. Yeah. You're gonna be terrible.
It was an absolute wrap. So like I feel like I can push myself, but so that's why I'll say like 10, 12, but I don't ever want to feel the way that I felt like that. So that's why I'm like, when Joey Chestnut does this stuff, it's disgusting to me.
Okay.
I can't believe it.
Way to bring that full circle. So Joey Chestnut, the record 76, he said it last year. Do you think he could go over this mark? And I think you said you saw odds. I didn't see odds anywhere, but
yeah.
I think the total set below the record, right?
Yeah. So the Athletic posted a story today where they had his odds in there. And so the line is at 74.5 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Absolutely insane. The over on 74.5, which would put him, even if he barely clears it, would put him one hot dog under the record. The over on that is -140. The under is +110. So he's that guy when it comes to.
Let's go over.
I think that the over is the play.
Why would he go under?
Well, okay, so I was looking in my deep research of the hot dog contest. So he's had a couple years where like he's been pushing himself, and then he would just have like an off year. So like in 2008 he goes 59 hot dogs. 2009 he goes 68. 2010 he has an off year and goes down to 54, and then comes right back in 2011 with 62. And then if you're looking at kind of like the second half of the decade, he goes up. He has 72 hot dogs in 17, 74 hot dogs in 2018, and then drops down to 71 in 2019. So maybe this is a year where you just get that random lull from him and you take the under. I think that like expecting him to, because the jump, there's always been like a seismic jump and like a pretty noticeable one. The difference between 2020 and 2021 was one hot dog. So I low-key feel like he might be reaching his peak. So the under might be the way to go. And especially if you can get like plus value at it, he might be hitting a wall. Right.
See, this is where like we need to like read interviews on Joey Chestnut's like his like mental psyche. Like, because I feel like if he is locked in, ready to go, he could go over 76. He definitely can.
I think I'm like,
but there might be some complacency.
I think so. Here's what I'm waiting for. I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the under because I don't think that I think that it might just be too much, right? Too much expectation. But what I'm waiting for, Exactly. I'm waiting to take the under, and then Joey Chestnut see this, and then after the contest, he does the Steph Curry like night night. Like that's what I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for everything to like come full circle.
I got to see what the weather is going to be like in Brooklyn for the event. I got to see the humidity. I got to know
The
what's
wind
going on.
blowing.
Yeah,
Facts.
listen, these are conditions. I remember during the pandemic, he did one in like a room, like cold AC controlled environment, and like it helped him with his like preparation and stuff. He was able to go up, but like if it's like a hot muggy day, that hurts you. It makes it like I think that something like that. I wrote one year I got really into it because I'm pretty sure it was the pandemic year and like I had nothing else to bet on, so I got really into it, and I'm pretty sure I went over and he crushed his over. So.
Yeah, yeah. The jump from 19 to 20, he made a jump of 4 hot dogs, and that was after that was the lull, right? That was the lull year in
Well, that's because
2019.
he was doing it indoors. So what was the jump from 2020 to 2021?
1 hot dog.
So maybe that is like the plateau. Like, you know what
That's
I
what
mean? Because
that's what I
2020 is
think.
a kind of an outlier year,
That's what I think.
different circumstances.
I think this 2021 76 hot dog run that might be the peak for Chestnut. He takes a step back, and then now he comes back maybe in 2020, and then 23. In 23, I would take the
20,
over.
okay. So 22 will go under. 23, we're hammering the over.
Yeah, 23,
Like,
23, we're hammering the over, we're hammering the under here. Listen, we're
okay.
giving out long plays. We're giving out 2, 3 year, 5 year plans on how to
Yeah,
bet
this is
the
like
hot dog contest. Listen, nobody's out here giving
no stock market,
no
only hot dog eating
nobody's
bets.
out here giving content like us in terms of 5 year plans on how to bet and invest in the hot dog contest, right? This is premium BetSided content. So this is the way to go though.
They should put this behind a paywall. This is
Exactly.
the good stuff right here. All right.
Exactly.
Good stuff on the hot dog eating contest. Let's keep it rolling, though. Game of the night. Well, by the way, I'm sure we're going to have plenty of hot dog eating content on the website. So make sure you check that out on betsided.com. But we're going to talk game of the night tonight because we are going to get back to baseball. We're talking Yankees Guardians, Donovan's Guardians. Donovan will get his thoughts on the state of the Guardians, the team he has a future on. But we are talking Yankees Guardians. Minus 210 with Garrett Cole on the mound are the Bronx Bombers. Guardians coming back at plus 190. Total set at 8. Juice to minus 120. Other places that's like 8.5, like standard juice. So kind of take that for what it's worth. But Donovan, before we get into this game specifically, talk to me about your Guardians because obviously they're in what is kind of like the tightest, most back and forth race we have going right now in the major leagues between them and the Twins.
Yeah, it's also funny that you're calling them my Guardians because I'm a Yankees fan. Like I root I
You're
root
your
for
Guardians, though.
I root for the Yankees, but I am on the Guardians bandwagon this year. And one thing that I thought was going to hold them back, I thought that Minnesota was going to be able to kind of distance themselves because Cleveland wasn't playing well at home. They weren't winning home games, and they've kind of turned that around. They're 19 and 15. Actually, no, my bad. I was saying that about the White Sox. The Guardians, however, are 19 and 15 at home, and so they're getting it done on both ends. I have a pick for later in this game, but I think that Cleveland, in terms of getting to the top of the AL Central, they're 1 game back right now. I think it's still like fully possible.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing really well. They're kind of peaking at the right time. They haven't had their streak of oh, we're going to give you really really good for the beginning, and then kind of be mid, which is kind of what the Twins did. The Twins
Yeah.
started off really really strong, and now we're starting to see them plateau a little bit. I think Cleveland still has another run in them, and that they're going to be able to get the division because in the American League, if you are not a division winner, like you're not getting the wild card spot. The AL East is taking up everything. So if you're in the AL Central or the AL West, you have to win that division. And the West is locked up. The Astros are 11 and a half games up on the Rangers. They are not letting that lead go. Then you have the Yankees and everything that's happening in the AL East. So the AL Central is the only competitive division in the AL, and I think it's going to come down between the Twins and the Guardians. And like I said, I think Cleveland still has another run in them to make. Once coming down the stretch of the season, especially starting on July 1st, to start of summer.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think the Guardians are very live for this division. It was a good bet by you. And I mean, we want to talk about the Yankees. I mean, this team doesn't lose. They refuse to lose. I know they lost last night to the Astros, but I mean, this is a team that really just they can do no wrong. I think I saw they have like 11 walk-off wins in like 40 some odd games this season at home. I mean, the team just another level. Aaron Judge obviously playing at an MVP level. But I want to talk about the pitching staff because this has kind of been what the team is kind of known for between Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, even Jordan Montgomery and the resurgent Luis Severino. But I'm not sold. I know the Yankees have this crazy record. I'm still not all the way in that this is like the runaway
You're a
world.
Mets fan. That's why this is Mets hate coming out.
This is a team peaking just a little too early, I think. I want to see what they do at the deadline. I want to see what happens with this pitching staff because we've seen Cortez start to take a little bit of a step back. But we are not talking about Nestor Cortez. We are talking about tonight's starting pitcher, Garrett Cole, who I am not particularly fond of, especially in this matchup because my best bet is on the over. I will not fade the Yankees, and I will not get in front of that because I know the Guardians are going to go out to an early lead and then the Yankees will come back and like Stanton will hit some piss missile to the moon and it will like the Yankees will win. I get that. But Garrett Cole is not the same pitcher that he was last season, especially on the road. His ERA jumps from 2.31 at home to 3.93 on the road. His walk rate is up. He has struggled at times with the home run, allowing hard contact. So I don't want to get on Garrett Cole on the road against a frisky Guardians team. I'd rather just look at the over here. I think that the Guardians are going to be able to get a few runs. And on the other side, Aaron Savali, who has been one of the worst pitchers in baseball this season, especially on the road. His ERA is almost at 10 on the road in 5 starts. But that number drops to 4.50 at home. Not great, of course, but it's a little bit better. So I think the Guardians may be able to spring an upset with Cole on the mound for the Yankees, and you could get a nice underdog price. But I actually just want to get on the over here, mainly because of my confidence in Cleveland's ability to plate a few runs, puts them up, and then you see the Yankees get their fair share, 4 or 5 runs, and this game goes over the total.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that the over in kind of any Yankee game is live just because of all the power that they have in their lineup. My best bet for tonight and where I'll go is I'm going to take the Yankees on the run line, right? And you talk about kind of this like low-key resurgence of Aaron Savale. And the reason why he's been playing better and why it seems like is because he's been playing less, right? Like the last 3 starts, he went from 6.1 innings to 5 innings to 4 innings, right? So the Guardians are clearly seeing like, okay, we can't leave this guy out there for too long. One or two things is going to happen. Either the Yankees are going to come out and destroy Savale from the start and they get on top of it and they force him to leave early, or like you said, they do what the Yankees do. They go down early. They use home runs and grand slams and big swings to get back into the game, and they start to separate themselves down the stretch, and they let their bullpen kind of take over. So I think that the Yankees lineup is obviously like insanely talented. And so I'll back them on the run line tonight. And you kind of called it one in terms of Giancarlo Stanton. My daily dinger for the night, little bonus pick here, is Giancarlo Stanton. He's plus 230 to hit a home run tonight. I think he did not hit one last night, but he's hit one. He's hit one in 5 of his last 7 games. He's on a hot streak, and everybody's looking at Aaron Judge, and rightfully so. He's the AL MVP. Don't forget who else is in this lineup. Right, you have Giancarlo Stanton, who has insane power. So I think he hits a home run and he helps the Yankees pull away tonight.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to I don't want to get in the side on this one just because I think Cleveland might be a little bit more alive, but I can't hate on the play because I do think the Yankees are the better team. I definitely wouldn't lay the minus 210 on the money line. I'd try and get that run line for sure. But yeah, no, great stuff as always. And that's going to be our show. Get your July 4th started right. Got a few winners for you tonight, tomorrow. We got a best bet for you in the game of the night, Yankees, Guardians. But our community pick, though, is agreeing with Donovan. Yankees minus 1.5, minus 125. That is our community best bet. So we will be on the Yankees. I will also be on the over. Donovan, you got to throw a little bit extra on there. It's holiday weekend. You might as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, If you guys like this content, just make sure you go right below, right here, right underneath us. Hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at BetSided. Check out all of our content. We have so much for you. We have UFC best bets, Wimbledon best bets, MLB best bets, a ton of NBA coverage throughout free agency and summer league coming up next week. So, guys, have a great 4th of July weekend. May all your bets hit, and we will see you on Tuesday.